everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Salt and Light Diaries podcast. My name is AngelOti, and I'm your host here on this podcast platform. And this is a space for young Christians who are navigating everyday struggles. I want to hear real talk on issues regarding faith, life, and everything in between. And I'll be bringing my own perspective as a young Christian. Today, the thing I'm going to talk about is something that I realize a lot of us have fallen prey to, and that is consumerism. I don't know how many of you know this old song that just resurfaced a couple months ago. Pit is for those who dig pits, and trouble is given to those who want trouble. But the joy of the Lord gives me big strength to jump over pit. I beg you. I beg you. Some of you, you're using your hand and your legs to jump inside the pit that they're digging for you. They're digging pits. But you're singing that song, but you're still jumping into the pit. Which pit am I talking about? Consumerism. A lot of young people these days are putting themselves under undue pressure. And that's the reason why many people are falling prey to consumerism. If you ask me, I would say consumerism stems from an identity crisis where you don't really know who you are, and a lot of your identity is linked to material possessions. Or is that you are easily influenced. I don't want to say peer pressure, because now sometimes the pressure is not from your peers, the pressure is from media, but the sharp pressure that you're following. And that it's a big problem. There's so many trendy marketing things. See, everybody wants to make sales, right? And a lot of people are targeting things at young people using catchy marketing trends, marketing campaigns to get you to use something. And you don't realize that it's a problem. For example, you get things on sale, something that you don't need, but because they told you it's 50% off, you're like, oh, you want to buy it. I was watching an episode of Friends recently. Friends is an amazing show, by the way. If you don't agree, we're going to have issues. But and then Rachel was saying something along the lines of how because it was on sale, she saved money. But my friends were telling her that, but you didn't even need this thing in the first place. And that's what consumerism does to you. Consumerism is the idea where you keep taking things, you keep buying things that you don't need, almost as if there is this insatiable desire to accumulate things, and this activity is what makes you happy. Let me tell you now, I know that yes, Instagram eavesdrops on your conversations and everything, but you don't need to always go through the ads and buy something. You don't need that new gown, you don't need that new outfit, that new shoe that are booked smart. You don't need to buy it. Okay? You don't need to acquire those things that you are seeing. You saw your friend using something. Let me even talk about this one. iPhones. There's an iPhone 17 out now. And now you're like, your old phone is looking ugly to you. See, there's this meme that goes around where it's like, someone made a tweet and said, I went to go and ask how much it would cost to swap my phone. And when they told me the price, I just bought new screen guard and pouch, and the way they look sharp. Yeah, sometimes you need to just beautify what you already have, right? I see some YouTube shorts of people that are using a 20-step skincare routine. Yeah, I'm dragging everybody today. Okay. Why? Why? Like, skincare is not cheap, oh. Skincare is not cheap. See, I still haven't gotten into skincare because I'm not ready. But to the best of my knowledge, you don't need a lot for basic skincare. You need a cleanser, you need a moisturizer, you need maybe a toner, and you need a sunscreen. Then, if you have specific needs, you can now get products for those specific needs. Like maybe you're struggling with hyperpigmentation or acne, and you can get products like, hyaluronic. Hey Jesus, I'm a pharmacist. Why? Hyaluronic acid, retinol, azelaic acid, and things like that. Right? You want to you like things like that. Some of the products I'm seeing, I'm ask, what's the purpose? You want to get a mask. You don't need mask every time. Don't need to get multiple masks that you're using. Don't need to get multiple scrubs. Especially if you're African and you already maybe you have a sponge that you use to exfoliate your face already. You don't need those many scrubs. Like see a lot of times we talk about declutter. The reason why you need to declutter is because you are consuming too many things. It's because you are buying too many products that you don't need. You buy something and then in the next 2 months you don't use it again. You buy one shoe and then you've worn it only twice this year. Why? I'm not trying to police you and I'm not saying don't spend on yourself. Please, hear what I'm not saying and hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't spend on yourself. I'm not saying that you don't deserve good things. But to what end are you buying some of the things that you're buying? Are you buying those things because you need them? Are you paying for these experiences because you need them or because someone told you that this is going to be the next best thing after sliced bread? It's not as if sliced bread is even that good, if I'm being honest. I don't even know why we keep on using sliced bread, but I go back instead of digressing. And there's some things that, make us indulge in consumerism without knowing. I want you to know that in this age, there is a lot of agenda that goes on that if you are not careful, if you don't open your eyes, you will not see it. You see the media and advertising, oh my gosh. Like some of us can remember, in fact, I have a very good example. When I was in primary five, there was this jingle that had come out from Mimi. Busha sha Mimi. Anywhere you like it, anywhere you want it. Mimi noodles, busha sha. So this very day, when I was in primary five, in the school bus, we are going home and we were all just singing because it was everywhere on TV at the time. And so we kind of all made this decision to convince our parents to buy us Mimi noodles. It was a Friday because it was going to be a weekend thing. So we're like, when you get home, just beg your mom, like, she buy Mimi noodles so that you will eat it. And then we're going to, like, because we're all fascinated by the song and we're going to come and share our stories. Hey, brethren, that is the worst noodles I've had in my life. You know what? That and I think another one that I don't want to mention, so I will not buy my podcast. But you, it was a very terrible experience until now. That my senses, you cannot convince me to eat meme noodles because when I eat it, the only thing my mother was like, you cannot even waste the food. You have to eat it because you're the one that begged for it, you're the one that asked for it. And it wasn't just me, that had that experience. A bunch of us came and we were like, oh shoot, like it was the worst thing. And I don't think we sang that song again in the school bus because everybody was so disappointed. But that's a way that, media and ad agencies just get you to think that what they're giving to you is the best thing. um it's very subtle that if you don't pick up on it you realize that, oh, your spending preferences and choices and your purchasing preferences are being influenced by what you see online. Social media influencers, they are not going scot free. Social media influencers, that's their business. Like when I mean I mean like this is their actual source of livelihood. They get products from people and they talk about these products. Not everybody is going to talk about a good product because for some people the end game is money. Sometimes you might have a creator that puts stuff out there and they're talking about things that are good, that if you use, you know they're actually going to be good. Sometimes they've given them pointers, to talk about these things. They've given them, what to use to hype up the product. They might not even be using the products that they're telling you to buy, but they have a target. you know, affiliate marketing, and they have like their affiliate links that you must, if they don't get a particular quota, they are not going to make the money that they need to make. So they are obviously going to push these products in your face. And then you that doesn't really need this thing, you'll now be like, oh, I see this thing. Ah, this person is sometimes maybe don't be gullible. Open your eyes and realize that not everything is as it seems on social media. And I'm not saying that some of these products are bad. Again, they're not bad, they might not be bad, but you might not need it. Or you might have something, an alternative that you like that already works for you that you probably just need to keep using. Peer pressure. Some of you is your friends that say, oh, let's buy this thing, let's do this thing. Why are we buying it? Okay, you can go ahead and buy it, but why are we buying it? Don't be influenced by people to do things or get things that you don't need. Or everybody's getting this latest dress, you too, you want to buy it because your friends have influenced you. They've told you that, oh, this is the best thing. I'm not saying that you cannot, take your friend's recommendation. You can take recommendation of people. That's the reason why people think that Janine and Gregory from Abbott Elementary are like couple goals, because there's a time in the movie where Gregory said, I take your recommendation seriously. I want to know why you like stuff. And you know what? I think the writers ate that line. I think like it's a good way to, foster friendship bonds where it's like, oh, you recommend something to your friends and then they try it and then you have a shared experience. But sometimes probe, in fact, every time probe, right? Don't go and buy this particular food. Don't go to this particular restaurant because your friend went there and they told you. If you cannot afford it, don't go. If you don't need to get this particular game, don't do it. If you don't need to get this device, you have a headset that's working for you, but somebody has talked about this Sony headset that is, you don't need to buy it. You don't need to get it, my dear. Like, I need us to, as young people, be able to have our own convictions about things. Yeah. And I know many times we talk about it like in a very abstract way. See, it comes down to your purchasing choices. Why do you buy the things that you buy? This product is working for you, but someone has come to tell you something else. You still have this product, but you want to buy another one to add to it. Why? Everybody's talking about this new collagen mask that is the best thing. Do you need it? Why are you getting it? You know, another reason is pride. You want to show off. You want that when you come out and they see you holding that new iPhone, they know that you're a big girl. You have made it. Papingo Dabalaya, big boy in town. You're like, who no go see you go shake? Then go shake when they see you now, because please, please, please release yourself from the shackles of pride and wanting to show off. Don't fall inside peace because you are trying to prove things to people that don't even care. You know, it would be a false thing to believe that people don't look at you, but it would be a false thing to also believe that everybody looks at you. The people that you think they care, they don't care as much as you think they care. So you're going to put pressure on yourself. You are going to dig pits with your hand and enter and cover yourself inside the pit because you think that people care about what you are doing or what you have. And that's a lie. That's a lie. See, I cannot think of one positive to consumerism, which is why I'm talking about it. And I know that it's something that affects a lot of us today. And the first thing is, it will land you in financial ruin. When you have made that purchase and your eyes, how people talk about shawarma clarity. That is what it's going to do to you. That is what is going to happen. When you buy it and the debit alert comes in, you'll be like, okay, I don't think that I really needed this thing. Oh my gosh, I remember this story the friend shared with me on Instagram about this babe that bought this wig, and the wig was very expensive. I think she spent the bulk of her salary for that month to buy that wig, and she was in penury for the month. She had to borrow money from someone. So it was so funny. But she had to borrow money from someone at work, and the person was using her to make all these status updates. I know that somebody's shading you, but you can't really talk because you know that it's really true. The girl was making her life miserable because she was like, she could not have, she didn't have money to eat because of wig. See, invest in your looks. Maybe one day I'll do an episode on fashion, right? Because I think that that's something that a lot of us young people need to hear being talked about. But don't go and do fashion at the expense of having sense. Yeah. Don't go and do it at the expense of your pocket. You should have savings. You should have things that you have going on. But you should have money to eat. You should have money for your transport. Don't spend all your salary on one purchase. Don't buy that thing for that babe because you want her to like you. This is a word for you. This is a word for somebody. Take it. Don't spend the bulk of your money trying to buy this thing because you think that this guy is going to like you, or the babes that he's rolling around with, they have this thing, and so you too, you want to buy it. You can afford to buy a car, but you can't afford to buy that car, but you go and borrow money to buy that car because you want people to look at you. Why? Don't do that. Someone said something where, and I think like a lot of people are just, duplicated it and run with it, where it's like, if you cannot afford to buy something twice, don't buy it. Truthfully, I don't use that. I see the logic behind it though. I don't always think that that's true. But if you're having a spendthrift issue, please, maybe that's the advice you should take. If you can't comfortably buy this thing twice, yeah, don't buy it. If you do not need this thing in 3 months anymore and it's such a heavy purchase, don't buy it. If it's something that you really need but I think it's nice to have, take a few days, right? Just take a few days and instead of making the purchase, and come back to it and ask yourself if you really want it before you buy it. If not, you will land in financial ruin. I know that a lot of us are young and we're not getting we're not at the financial level that we want to be in, yeah. That's the more reason why you need to be learning how to be prudent. You need to learn how to budget. You need to learn how to keep your money. You need to learn that, okay, this money is for miscellaneous, it's not for bag. You know, this money is for food, is not for shoe or wig or phone. If you want to buy something, you can save towards it. Have a targeted savings where you just save, like, okay, so every month I'm going to put this thing aside just so that I can get this thing at the end of the day. And by the time you say that money, if it's not really a need, you'll realize that you just realize that, oh more, can't be say realize twice. You'll just see that you don't need to even make that purchase and you never needed that thing in the first place. Another negative effect of consumerism is that it causes low self-esteem. And this one is because when you don't have certain things, you start to feel like, I am easy bache. My life has spoiled. I don't have this, I don't have that. You start to feel less than. You're not comfortable enough to stand in rooms with people that seemingly have those things that you've placed a premium value on. Um, and this is something that's really sad because I need you to understand that sometimes you're comparing yourself with people that are not in the same playing field as you are. Maybe some of these people are much older. Some of these people had career breakthroughs early on in their career that you've not yet had. Some people have family support or friends, or they're the last born to maybe siblings that can really foot their bills. Meanwhile, you're the first born from a family where your parents are your parents are actively depending on you to support them financially. You're not in the same category. I don't want you to look at yourself as as the things that you have. Your self value and esteem should not be tied to the materials that you possess. You should think about yourself as like the value that you bring to the table as your inherent value, your skills and things, your self development, rather than what you possess or do not possess, so that you don't have issues, talking to people and relating to people that are ahead of you or have material possessions that you're yet to get. Another negative thing is that because of what you have, you now start to have this attitude to other people. Have you heard people that think that because they have money, maybe they were poor before, now they've worked hard and they have money, they think that everybody that is poor is lazy? That's like the same WhatsApp group for me, where because you have something that someone else doesn't have, you start to look down on them. maybe you have a car now and then you're looking at all these people you're like, oh, I can't believe you're crossing the road. I do not cross the road, blah, 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 all those things that people say, funny things. Or, you know, you call your friend is on an Android phone and you're dragging them that they can't use airdrop. Ah, God. Oh my gosh, I just remembered something and it's so funny. Sometimes like it can be bans, but let's even within that bans, let's know how we are bantering that we don't become haughty in how we interact with people. Consumerism can cause mental health issues. You are taking a lot of what you don't need. You are losing yourself and losing your money, and it can cause issues for you mentally. I would talk about mental health issues. I mean, this podcast is just starting, so there's so many things I'm going to talk about as time goes on, right? Because that's something that I'm very passionate about. But putting your self worth in material things does more harm than good to you, especially to your mental state. I know I just talked about self esteem, but it can cause you to feel like it can increase anxiety if you feel like you need to get a certain thing and you don't get it at that point in time. They're just, in fact, do you even know that one of the ways, like one of the symptoms of bipolar disorder, and please, I'm not diagnosing anybody, I'm just telling you, is excessive purchases, big splurges on things. And not everybody, has bipolar, but sometimes like these things have like a ripple effect. You start to make decisions without thinking, and then when the consequences happen, they just can affect your mental health, right? Maybe you're like that babe now that you spent all your money on weekends, start to feel sad. Your colleague at work is dragging you for all the things, and that's not an easy place to stay. It will just trigger different mental health symptoms. So please, consumerism is not the thing to do. Another thing is that it's caused us to have a society where success is looked at being more material, which has now caused people to get into fraud and look down on legitimate jobs. So now you have girls that say they don't want to date a 9 to 5 hour because he doesn't have money to buy them things that he wants. You have boys that don't want to wait. 13-year-olds are being groomed to do yahoo yahoo. Oh Lord, I hate it. I detest fraud with everything that I have. Like I detest because you're circumventing things that you would have gotten from discipline, from working, like processes. You are skipping processes. You are stealing. You are a thief when you are doing fraud. And you're not just a thief stealing, you are causing people to develop heart problems, develop health issues. Some people have died because they were defrauded of their hard-earned money, their pensions. And some people will now come and say it's reparations for what the white people did, but you're not defrauding a white person. The white person you're even defrauding is not even someone that did. They don't know your grandfather from anywhere. You have people that don't want to work. You have people that don't want to you know stay the due process. You have people that don't understand that there is a time for everything. And you look down on legitimate jobs. Oh, this job is going to pay me. Please, this is not again an advocacy for companies to rip people off. But it's just to say that if you're starting out in your career, maybe you will get a lower paying job before you climb up, and maybe that means you can't afford the things that you want. You will relax and wait till you get there, till you start earning more, right? Or maybe your businesses start becoming more profitable that will allow you the opportunity to buy these things. Don't, because you don't have these things or because you want to buy these things, start putting yourself under undue pressure or going a way that is not even of the Lord at all, doing something that society frowns at. Which now even leads me to the last thing I'm going to say is That a lot of the older generation call us the Indomie generation because a lot of us want it now. We want it fast. And this is because we've not learned delayed gratification. When you see something that you can probably afford to buy and you don't even stop to say, do I really need this thing? Or this thing is on sale and yeah, this the price that is still, but do I really need it? You don't learn delayed gratification. It is something that in life you're going to need it. You're going to learn delayed gratification. But if consumerism has eaten deep into your bones, that's a lesson that you've been skipping out on. That oh, okay, I would like to get this thing now, but maybe not now. Maybe I should chill, or I should get this other thing first. Or let me continue using what I have and then later I'll get this other thing. Delayed gratification is something you're going to need in life, you know, as a friend, as a child, as a sibling, as a spouse, as a parent. Imagine you not knowing how to explain it. How do you teach your children that? How do you teach your kids that hey, we don't get everything we want when we want it. Sometimes we have to wait because that's how life is. So please, if they've dig this pit for you or you have been following them to dig the pits, today jump and pass. Hello, amen. Jump and pass, please free yourself from the shackles of having to prove anything. Free yourself from the bondage of tying your self worth to what you have. Okay, I pray that God will bless us. I pray that we would have the wisdom to, steer our finances. I pray that God is going to give us the discipline to stay through due processes, that you give us the ability to see ourselves as more than what we have, that we don't end up comparing ourselves to others or looking down on others because they do not have what we have, but that we see ourselves as worthy citizens, worthy human beings, first because He loves us and died for us, and not just because of the things that we can boast that are in our name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you so much for listening. Please do also like this episode, follow this podcast, and share this episode with your friends. Share it with young people, old people, everybody that needs to listen to this one. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.